I have the great pleasure of being able to have said that I've worked with Paul Finkelstein his entire career at REGIS since he joined in 1987. At the time that Paul joined 24 years ago, REGIS was the largest salon chain in the world. We had just over 650 units. But under Paul's direction and leadership, the industry dominance quickly expanded, growing more than 20 times. Today we have nearly 13,000 salons operating around the world and generating close to $3.8 billion of annual sales on a system-wide basis. Paul, all I can say, it's been a great ride. You built a heck of a company, and we have 56,000 employees that are very proud of you. Thank you very much. I personally, if I can make just a couple of personal comments before Paul comes up, I have personally learned a great deal from Paul over the years. He's a brilliant business person, and I've learned a lot, not only about the salon industry, but maybe more important, just about business in general. I've learned the value from Paul of developing very strong, solid business relationships with our business partners. I've also learned to have empathy for people, and also the necessity of having strong ethics in business. Paul's motto for years within REGIS has been, do the right thing. He empowers all of us every day to do the right thing, not only for our staff, but do the right thing for our customers. I also remember many times over the years, Paul and I would just have some candid conversations. And Paul, you said something that resonated with me, and it sticks to me this day. That when he says to me, Randy, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, the only thing that you and I have is our credibility. Don't ever tarnish it. And I remember that. And that's been a guiding light for me over the years, Paul, and I thank you for that. I know my wife, Mary Kay, has heard me say this on countless occasions over the years. Paul has always struck me to be one of the most dynamic and yet I'll say business-driven individuals I've ever met. Geez, he has to be thinking and breathing business 24/7. And I'm sure that's a result, Paul, of as a result, that's why you're so successful in what you've been able to accomplish. But I don't want to leave you with the thought that Paul is a one-dimensional guy, because he's not. So I wanted to kind of share maybe 3 attributes of Paul that if you look at a stereotypical business person, you wouldn't necessarily think of that they would have these kind of attributes. But I would say the first thing that strikes me is Paul is known within REGIS as being our resident movie critic. He has an insatiable appetite to see first release movies when they come out. So typically on a weekend, he and his lovely bride Jean will spend a few hours at the movie theater watching movies, and then on Monday morning, we get a debriefing. We hear about what he likes, what he doesn't like, and so none of us, as we've grown up at REGIS, would ever think about going to a movie without first talking to Paul and getting his opinion beforehand. The other thing that we would never think about doing at REGIS is thinking about going to a doctor without first talking to Paul. And Mary, you're going to love this. Mary Brainerd, you're going to love this. Paul has asked many of us over the years, what's the difference between Jews and Gentiles? And I say, I don't know, Paul, what's the difference between Jews and Gentiles? And he'll say, Jews go to doctors and Gentiles don't. Now, I don't know if he's right, but I do know that Paul seems to know every doctor in town. And so this is the way it generally works. If any of us ever have an ailment or we have a family member that needs to see a doctor, we've learned we first go to Paul. And we tell him a little bit about, well, I got a knee problem, I got a wrist problem, and he'll then say, here's the specialist, here's the doctor you need to see. But it doesn't stop there. He then goes on to say, here's generally what your problem is. Here's the treatment you're generally going to receive. Then he picks up the phone and he calls the doctor's personal assistant, not the help desk or the reception desk to make appointments. He calls the doctor's personal assistant, and you generally get in that afternoon. So, Paul, again, we've been in very good hands with you over the years from a medical point of view. And Ralph Strangis, you and I were talking beforehand about Paul's sense of humor. And I think those of us that know Paul, and Paul, I think you would agree with this, we generally look at your humor as being pretty irreverent at times, and maybe even bordering on being warped. But I will say this. I have had the very good fortune over many years of traveling a lot with Paul, visiting investors and analysts on Wall Street. And as a result, those of us that travel a lot know that travel can have a lot of drudgery. Paul removes the drudgery. He's got a unique personality. He's a lot of fun. And I think at the end of the day, when we come back home from the airport, we look at each other and we say, it was a good trip. We had a lot of laughs. And Paul, I've always enjoyed your sense of humor. So thank you. I would just say this in closing. Paul, I know, first of all, congratulations on your induction into the Minnesota Business Hall of Fame. I know that you personally are very proud of this recognition, and rightfully so. But please also know, all of us at Regis, all 56,000 of us at Regis, are equally proud of not only you, but your accomplishments. Congratulations once again. And with that, it's my great pleasure to be able to introduce to you the Chairman and CEO and my friend of Regis Corporation, Paul Finkelstein.
Thank you, Randy. I also want to thank my sons and my brothers and Brian Laborski and Frank Shainham, who traveled great distances to be with me here tonight. The six of you, along with my wonderful wife, Gina, who's also with me tonight, have been pillars of support for me, so this is really special that you are here with me tonight. As Randy pointed out, we've had a lot of growth, and the real term here is we. This is a very management-intensive business with 56,000 employees, and not including the 25,000 that are employed by our franchisees, 8,000 company-owned stores. It takes a team to run this business, and we have a fantastic team. A great majority of that senior management team is with us tonight. You've done a terrific job. Kudos to you. Well done. Before passing the baton over to Guy, I'd like to cover two topics. First, Regis has had a unique ability to transform itself throughout the years. Our founder, technically not the founder, but in reality our founder, Myron Cunyon, who's here with us tonight, and frankly, he should be sharing this podium with me because without Myron Cunyon, there'd be no Regis Corporation. Myron totally transformed the company. He took a company operating department store beauty salons, got rid of the beauty salons, and went into malls. He was one of the few people who understood the power of the regional mall. The transformation process continued. In the 1990s, we realized that the mall growth was going to be stagnant. So in May of 1996, Myron and I went down to Little Rock, Arkansas, met with Stevens Financial, who took Walmart public, by the way, and we bought 153 salons in Walmart, generating $25 million worth of business. And today, as the tape pointed out, we now have 2,500 stores generating $600 million in business. And that same year, in October of 1996, we bought Supercuts, which got us into franchising and also got us into the strip center business. And since 1996, 80% of our growth has been in these three venues: Walmart, franchising, and the strip center business. So we've had this unique ability to transform ourselves, and I know that there's a lot of discussion about the need for change, and I think perhaps a more accurate term would be the need for Randy, who's going to do a fantastic job running this company, and the management team to continue this very successful transformation process. Lastly, I'd like to talk about our corporate culture. It's been one of the drivers of our success, and it couldn't have taken place. We would not have had the same success if we were East Coast based or West Coast based. I don't think any of you realize, but I am from the East Coast. Is that a surprise? We just would not have had the same success. The way people answer the phone in Minneapolis is just different. It's kinder, it's gentler. And it really was a key contributor to the success of this company. And it just didn't happen because we were here. It happened because of Myron and his management team. Ernie Halpern, who passed away several years ago, Bill Sipkins, who's here tonight, and Frank Evangelist, who's here tonight. They built this culture. They made it happen. Along with some recently announced retirees, John Briggs, who really built the Walmart business, Mark Carterick, who built the franchise business, Bruce Johnson, and my dear, dear friend Gordon Nelson, who just really got out of a hospital bed to be here with us tonight. You were major contributors to this culture as well. It really made this company. So we owe you an awful lot. Thank you. And thank you, Twin Cities Business. I am so grateful for this honor. Have a good evening, everybody.
Hi, my name is Dale KURSCHNER. I'm editor-in-chief of Twin Cities Business Magazine, and here with us tonight is Paul Finkelstein. We recently saw yet another acquisition is underway, and I think this time it's with a barbershop type of chain. Tell us a little bit about that acquisition and how it might be a little different.
It just makes a lot of sense for us to try to add some more male-oriented salons. So this is part of the process. We are not new to the male business. Once again, 42% of our customers are male, 70% of our Supercuts customers are male, but this is another way to grow the male business.
Over the years, how would you say the business climate here in Minnesota, but also in general, has changed?
Casual lifestyle, casual living has made a major impact. The jeans mentality, you can go virtually to any restaurant in Minneapolis in jeans today. Mm-hmm. And as a result, you don't have to be done up. You can be somewhat disheveled in terms of your hair. So visitation patterns have lengthened, and that's created challenges for the industry, and we have to live with it. It is systemic. Eventually at anniversaries, woman who had gone 8 times a year is now going 6 times a year. They're not going to go twice a year, or else they're going to have to take down all the mirrors in their home. Because at some point in time, you have to anniversary this visitation pattern. But it's been a challenge, there's no question about it.
Why do you think Minnesota has been such a hotbed for beauty salon businesses? You know, we have Regis, Aveda, Great Clips. It just seems like there's so much that's come from here.
It just happened that way. It's interesting. And it's odd, but there's no reason for it other than Myron Kunyon's father immigrated from Russia and came to Minnesota. And it's just one of those things that it just happenstance.
Some companies have grown into gigantic corporations, and they still say we are going to double in size within the next so many years. What's next for Regis?
Well, we have that ability to do so as well. You know, we're 10 times larger than anybody else, and yet we only have a 2% worldwide share and a 4% North American share. So there's plenty of opportunity for us to double our store count. Now, I don't know if it's going to take, 10 years or 20 years, but the opportunity is there because we don't have a significant share of the market.
Great. Well, thank you for taking some time with us tonight. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for this honor. I really appreciate it.